Alright, Screaming Demons RC SDRC back in the shop today. I'm going to continue on the Kraton build series for all the Vitavon parts I've got here. Well, these aren't all of them, but these are the next stage that we're doing right now. So we've got the toe links, the rear toe links. These are the upper links for your rear suspension pin mounts, this and this. We've got the pins, the suspension pins, 2 for the back, 2 for the front. They come in a pack of 4. The suspension pin mounts, these 2 are for the rears. When you buy them, they come with all 4, the 2 for the front and the 2 for the rear. And also, sorry, hand in the way, shadowing. And also, we've got the drive cups here. These are the Vitavon drive cups that I did in the last video, but I've got another set for the rear diff, which is over here. I'm going to be rebuilding that today. And so, new oil, silicone fluid, and I've already got the gears here for the Vitavon gears in the diff. I've had them installed for a while. They're holding up great. They look good. Get a little shot of that. You can see a little wear on the back, but that's nothing. They're solid, so not a big deal. This is the Vitavon gear. Goes in your diff, 43 tooth, and that's for the 6S Kraton. So yeah, let's get on with this build. Oh, and I do have, these are all Vitavon gears here, and they're holding up really well also. And I believe the pins are Vitavon pins for the diff pins. So let's get on with this. I'm going to give you all the weights for all these components compared to the stock Arrma pieces. And like I said, I'm going to get on with this build. First thing I'm going to do is build that diff, so let's get that done. Alright, I've got the diff all put back together. I've got those new diff cups installed. I checked the bearings, which are all good. I had replaced them not long ago. I put new 7,000 weight silicone oil in there, diff fluid. Not oil, fluid, sorry. And I replaced the O-rings, the orange rubbery silicone O-rings that are in the diff. I replaced those. One was a little bit worn, so I replaced those. And we're going to put this into the rear diff casing. I just got to clean that casing out, wipe out the residue. And yeah, well, let's get it put together. Looks all good. Nice and tight. Feels good. I have to order some new shims for these. I had one washer that was perfect size for the one side, so I shimmed that up on the one side. And the other side, I'm just going to order some diff shims, and I'll have to take this part sometime in the spring here. Once I run it a few times and get the truck back together and going. So let's get this put in. Alright, I had to remove the diff, the top gear here, because I had forgot to put this shim here. You can see this shim. Get a better view. You can see this shim at the top there. I had to remove the gear, take out the drive cup so I could put the drive cup down with the shim down in there, because the stock drive cups are a bit smaller than the Vitavon ones. Vitavon's made them a bit bigger, the outside diameter of these drive cups, I think, to make them last better and not stretch out and break and stuff like that. So they're a little more heavy duty, but you have to remember to put that shim in first before you assemble the diff and put the drive cup into the top gear there. Because if you don't, you're not going to get that shim over top of this drive cup. So very, important. Make sure you do that, or you're going to have to take it apart like I just had to and redo it. So make sure that shim goes in. You don't want to forget that, or you're going to have to take it apart. Not a big deal, but it takes you a few more minutes to assemble, and it's not as straightforward then. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that little note there. And there we go. Let's get her done. All right, I've got that diff installed in the rear case there. You make sure that you put the diff gear on this side. The shim goes on the outside. You can see it just there. Hopefully you can see that shim on the outside of the bearing there, which holds the gear against the pinion. And what I like to do is I like to add a bit of lubricant. I use Screaming Demons SDRC lube tubes, bearing and easy bearing lube. I just use that for my gears. It's also great for gears too. I make sure I lubricate the gear all the way around before I install it, just a bit. You don't have to go crazy with it. And then on the other side, I'm going to flip this over and show you. Make sure you, before you close up the case, you put your drive cup that goes on the outside. You put that on first, because then you can push the pinion in while you're putting the drive cup to make sure that the pinion's not sliding into the case when you put this on. All right, and remember, always put some blue Loctite on your grub screw before you screw that in there so you don't lose it. So we're just going to slide that on. I'm holding the diff from the back side against the pinion. I'm going to slide that on in place. Make sure I'm lined up. And then just tighten that down while keeping it against the casing, against the bearing. And then after, check it. Yeah, seems good. Just give it a good snug. And then wipe off your excess Loctite and you're good to go. Good to put the casing back together. All right, the next thing we're going to install on this build will be the upper toe links. Now you can see here, this one's got a cutout on the very top edge there. You wanted to put that on the outside towards your wheel, towards your hub, because that groove is going to make it so your wheel, as you bottom out, and it's going to make it so your wheel and your rim is not going to rub on your link there. So that groove, make sure it's on the outside towards your hub. And I've already got this one installed. Here you go, you can see that right there's the groove. Now when they come from the factory, they're short, they're adjusted all the way short. Not all the way, but they're a lot shorter than they need to be. So you're going to have to loosen off these nuts and adjust them out to the length of your stock toe links here, to roughly the exact length of them. You can see I've already done these ones. They're about the exact length, maybe a little shorter right now. Get them in the rough length, and then when you've got the truck all together and you got your wheels back on, then you can loosen off the lock nuts and adjust them to be the right length so your toe in is perfectly for you. And so we're going to put on this other one. And one more tip, when you install them from the factory, they come on the inside hole. You can see there's 4 holes there. They come on the inside lower hole. That's where the stock ones are mounted. These ones you're going to need to mount on the outside lower hole because, one more sec here, because the eyelet, you can see on these ones, this one's, it's spaced out further. It's got a bigger spacer on that side. So this will set the link out further from your shock tower. And without that wide one there, these Vitavons are the same. I'll show you one sec. These Vitavons are the same length. The eyelet is on the same length on both sides, so it's hard to get it exactly to show you, but they're exactly the same length. So they will rub onto the bulkhead, and basically they'll rub on the bulkhead and they'll be too tight if you tighten them down in the original location. So put them on the outside, mount them there, then when you get your truck all together, adjust them so your toe link is making your wheel stay in the right position. Anyway, and the right angle. So we're going to go on and connect these. I'm not going to install them on the hub side because I'm going to do in the next video, we're going to install the Vitavon CVD drive shafts. And then once I get the drive shafts installed, then I can put the link attached to the outside hub here in the location it needs to go. All right, let's continue on and get these put on, and I'll show you what they're like after. All right, the next thing we'll install is the new Vitavon suspension pins. So these, quite simply, get down here. These quite simply just go into your suspension arms, slide them in. They slide in pretty good because they're brand new. One in each side, and there you go. So they are pretty much identical to the stock Arrma ones. I believe they're a bit better grade of metal. So other than that though, the weight is pretty much identical to the same weight as the stock ones, and the finish on them is a nice polished finish. And I can't remember what the stock ones looked like when they were brand new, but here is a look at Oh, dropping stuff all over the place in my shop. Here's what they look like. Here's a Vitavon one, and here is a Arrma's one. Now these are used Arrma ones, so they have a bit of, you know, the surface on the outside's a bit pitted and they're rough. I used a bit of emery cloth just to clean them up for the video after I got them out of the truck. They were hard to remove out of the swing arm or the suspension arms because they had packed dirt all on them and debris and pitting and stuff on them. So they were a little hard to remove, but they are pretty much identical. Yeah, looks identical in length. The Arrma ones might be slightly like a 1/2 mil longer, but the material looks better on the Vitavon ones. So we'll just have to see how they last and how they work. So get those installed. We'll do that right now. Like I said, I already put them in the arms, so there they are sitting in the arms. And the next thing, oh, one slid back out. So the next thing we're going to do is install the suspension pin holders. These are the mounts for the suspension pins. So we're going to get those installed, and they're quite simple. Just a couple of screws. I'm using the screws that came out of my original pieces. Vitavon does not supply the screws for those, so these two countersunk screws go in there and there, and they go into these two holes on your bulkhead. So let's get that done, and I'll show you what it's like after I install that front one. Alright, I've got that front rear mount installed. Now on the bottom here you can see it says Vitavon 7075 right there. That's what they're made of, 7075 aluminum. And it says RF, meaning rear front. That's the rear front, for the rear front mount. So I've got those installed. Now we're going to flip this around and we're going to install the back one. Alright, here is the rear mount. You can same thing, you can see Vitavon in the center there. And on the one side it says RR, which is rear. And this one is 7075 also, 7075 aluminum. So this one goes on, and you use the included screws from your original parts, which are right here. And they're still in this piece of the plastic mount that you need to save and use. And so those will go on after. So this one's pretty simple. You just put it on, line up your pins, push it down onto there. Now in the center there's a hole there, and on the bulkhead there's a little tab. That little tab has to go into that hole. Let's see if we've got it all the way down. Okay, I just pushed it all the way down. It clicked into place. Looks all good. You can see on the bottom if you've got it all the way, because there's holes in the bottom there that line up for mounting your bulkhead to the chassis. Looks like I have to push it down just a bit more to get it into place. And I can either push it down or, let's see, did that get it? Okay, that's it. She's all the way in place. All right, so now I will just put this mount on here, this plate here with these screws, and that should pull it all down into place, and we will be done with that. I'll show you what it's like after I get it tightened down. All right, I've got both those suspension pin mounts installed. They look great. They fit great. And the next thing we'll be doing in the next video, because we're done for this video now, the next video I will be reviewing and installing the drive shafts by Vitavon, the CVD drive shafts for the rear and the front. But the next video I will only be doing the rears. Well, potentially we can get the front done too, but we'll see where we get. Anyway, hopefully you got something from that video. Give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, share it with your friends, whoever's got a Kraton or just is interested in RCs and likes to see how they're put together. And go get yourself some Vitavon parts. Go check them out. That's Vitavon. I'll leave a link in the description. And thanks again for watching. And we'll be out of here. Talk to you next time. SDRC, Screaming Demons RC. We're out.